fun,
pure,
inquisitive,
sharing, innocent,
valuable,
history makers,
happy,
harmless,
vulnerable,
family.
precious.
I think of all of that when I think of children.
We use a wooden statue of the Sankofa as our talking piece. It's a bird looking backwards with an egg in its beak. Sankofa teaches us that we must go back to our roots so that we can achieve our full potential as we move forward.
This is Nova Scotia, a province on the east coast of Canada. People of African descent have lived here for hundreds of years in communities around the province.
Restorative justice is a way of actually thinking about justice that places relationships and how we treat one another and how we organize society and opportunities for one another, how we imagine those relationships and those issues at the core of what justice means. So for me, it really is an approach to justice that places just relationships at the core of what it means to do justice, and then challenges us to say, if that's what justice looks and feels like, the way we relate to each other in an interpersonal way and at systems and institutions, if it's about a just society and just relationships, then we need processes and institutions and practices that are able to do that relational work. And so it challenges us to do justice in a different way too. The phases of the design process that emerged centered around ways to do that work. So we had to identify how we are connected, how we are related to these issues, to one another, to our responsibilities for what happened in the home and what it's connected to in the larger context. That was the relationship building phase. The second phase of the work then really focused on deepening our learning and understanding about one another, the impacts of what happened, our responsibilities together for that, and what needs to happen next. The third phase, which makes this kind of an approach to public inquiry different than what normal public inquiries look like, is a phase of planning and action, which says, what have we learned about what needs to happen, and what do we need to do about it, and how do we begin that call to action, that how do we plan together that we're going to be in this, that we're committed to the journey ahead, and that we're going to take what action we can in real time, so that there's not just a set of recommendations at the end that we hope people pick up, but we've built the relationships and the commitments and are on the road to doing that work together as the inquiry process ends and that work continues. As part of the phase of work that the restorative inquiry undertook around learning and understanding, the point of that phase was to look at the history of the home and the example of the home, and to understand it as an example of systemic racism in the province, and to see what lessons, what matters about that example for the future. When we invited people in from different government systems, from agencies, from community, and all at the core of that with the former residents sharing their experiences, we began to see emerge some issues that's central to our work, central to the mandate, and we started from the central importance of seeing this through the lens of systemic racism and ensuring that we were taking steps to analyze and understand this example and what we learned from this example for other ways in which systemic racism is clearly a part and continues to shape our relationships in this province. It was very clearly a story about our second central issue, which is around failures of care and institutional abuse as an example of failures of care. So how did people respond to institutional abuse? And the third issue was related to the experience of children in care. And so those three central issues really emerged out of our developing and understanding, and then we spent the remainder of our work really deepening our understanding of those three central issues. We really wanted to not only ensure that we were getting information as commissioners, as the Council of Parties. We didn't want it to be a one-way flow of information. You come tell us, we'll hold that information, we'll figure it all out, and then we'll figure out what needs to be done and we'll tell you. We used circle formats throughout the process at each stage when we were trying to help people understand their relationship and their responsibilities and their needs out of this shared history, when we tried to bring people together with others to figure out how do we understand these central issues and what do we do about them. In all of those stages and phases, the way we came to try to understand truth and what had happened was through this kind of sharing circle format. And that was really important for a number of reasons. It allowed people to talk to one another about the way in which our information and our understandings matter. So our hope is that we brought people together with a lot of care and thought about who we put in the room and what they talk about, what information we share with them first. But then they talk to each other about that information, and the understandings that are developed stay with the people who hold the responsibility to do something about it. And so they're not waiting for us as commissioners or the Council of Parties to tell them what to do or to share that information back or for us to make sense of it. They're making sense of it together.
We keep this candle lit as a reminder of our focus to do no further harm.
Honesty.
Love.
Future.
Important.
Life.
No racism.
Joy.
Everybody's equal when you're a child.